In order to hit Joe Biden's declaration of General Motors being the number one electric vehicle producer in the world, General Motors actually invented a whole new category where they can take number one because no one else is actually in it. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. Thank you for tuning in. In the year 2023, it will go down as the year that General Motors finally did take first place in the world because they invented their own category that no one else is allowed to be part of. Seriously. Now, there's a bit of a controversy here. The key reason being GM is offering the Bolt for a pretty good price, but apparently a lot of people are getting angry. Now, I'll get onto that in a second. First, General Motors has listed, it claims the Bolt EV and the EUV are the number one mainstream EV series in the fourth quarter and the full year 2022 in its US sales report. Number one mainstream EV series. So this is a whole new category. I don't know how other manufacturers, if they're allowed to qualify for this, if GM says yes or no, or how this actually works. But I'm trying to work it out. I've done some research here. I've opened up some links. I've looked at some quotes from General Motors. I'll tell you what I know, and then maybe you guys can fill me in on the details, because I'm not in the US right now. I'm in Australia, so maybe there's something I'm missing. General Motors released its 2022 US fourth quarter and full year sales report for the US. In it, the veteran automaker highlighted its key milestone of the past year. GM, by its own account, deserves a lot of credit in 2022, considering the American automaker was able to reclaim the US top spot in overall auto sales from Toyota Motor Corporation, one of its biggest rival in the United States. But not only that, I mean, first place, come on, it just doesn't get any better than this. As per GM's Q4 and 2022 US sales report, it posted a total of nearly 2.3 million sales in the United States in 2022. This corresponds to a 3% year-over-year rise. Now, there was only two manufacturers in the US who increased their sales growth in 2022. GM by 3%, Tesla by a lot more percent. The company also posted a strong comeback in the fourth quarter, with US sales rising by 41% year-over-year to 623,000. Toyota, on the other hand, posted overall sales of 2.1 million. Meaning it lost its title that it stole from General Motors last year. Or didn't steal it. It took it legitimately. But that's the last time, in my view, it's ever going to have that title. So General Motors says its highlights for the year. Number one in total pickups for the 9th straight year. Number one in full-size pickups for the 3rd straight year. They said, and they made a point of emphasis, they sold 115,000 more than the Ford. But to be fair, I mean, Ford have sold a lot more electric pickups than General Motors, because they sold the Hummer EV, and what do they sell, about like 20 a week or something? I mean, they sell a lot more than that. I'm sure they could deliver thousands and thousands, but they're just not making them. Full-size SUVs, number one in America. Number one in large luxury SUVs with a Cadillac Escalade. Number one luxury sports car with a Chevrolet Corvette. Number one in customer loyalty, apparently. Number one in most vehicles ranked first in initial quality, including 6 Chevrolet models. Corvette ranked highest overall, according to GM's internal surveys, of course. I don't know where that comes from, but anyhow. Number one brand in initial quality and sales satisfaction, Buick. And the number one mainstream EV series in Q3 and Q4 with a Chevrolet Bolt EV and Bolt EUV. The irony of all this is, I mean, a lot of those claims they're legit, and they were good results. But that final one, it just kind of delegitimizes everything GM is saying. Now, considering its accomplishments, it was no surprise General Motors listed several of its number one milestones in 2022. But GM didn't say what it means by being mainstream EV series. It didn't actually qualify how anyone else can qualify, or if no one else can qualify for this particular category for the next, 10 years, just GM, so that they can make sure that Joe Biden is convinced forever that GM is in fact number one. However, I should point out that General Motors delivered 16,108 of the Bolt EV and the EUV, meaning that in the third quarter, the Bolt EUV had a 4.8% share of US electric vehicle sales. Tesla Model 3 had 21%. That means for the entire year, the Bolt EV and the EUV had their best year to date, with 53.5% increase in sales to 38,000. However, there's a bit of an issue here. All right, people have been emailing me telling me, please make a video about this. And, it's fair. I should do it. I should, because it's a fair point here, guys. The Chevy Bolt and the Bolt EUV aren't the best EVs you can buy, but they're fairly affordable. For many people, an EV that starts under $30,000 is ideal because it's what we can afford. Even among people who can afford a $50,000+ Tesla, they'd rather keep their monthly budget open for other things. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply in China, where you can buy a Tesla for $33,000, Model 3, $36,000, Model Y. But in the US, it's still the case. Now, there are some shortcomings. I mean, the charging speed is quite slow. It's only 55 kilowatt max. A few other things that, key reasons like range, for example, that people might not want to buy this, but still. A lot of vehicles have 150,000 plus miles and only 10% battery degradation. That's pretty good. But that was before the battery recalls. So after the battery recalls, I'm not sure how that will go, but I'd say that considering their newer packs, they'd be better. However, there is an issue here. During the worst shortages of Bolts and Bolt EUVs, many dealers were charging a $5,000 to $10,000 premium on top of MSRP, and General Motors doesn't really care. Sadly, some people were dumb enough to encourage that behavior by actually paying it, says Clean Technica. Now, one person writing for Clean Technica says this: "It took me several months and a lucky break at one of my local dealers to get one at MSRP, so I jumped on it. But the situation has suddenly changed when word came out that tax credits were coming back. Instead of wanting a Bolt or Bolt EUV right away, many buyers wanted to find one to buy in January. Even better, the Bolts are going to qualify for the full $7,500 tax credit for at least the next few months. So Bolts started stacking up on dealer lots again. And the few people who weren't wanting to wait for the tax credit were able to get normal sub-MSRP pricing again, which is still a good deal, especially if it's a few thousand under MSRP. However, now in January, the tax credits are on, and people are saying everywhere, Facebook, forums, etc., that dealerships are now putting massive markups on these cars. Here's one example. Wow, went to the Chevy dealership today to buy a Bolt EUV they had in stock. It was a madhouse. Tons of people in line to buy. A fight almost broke out between the guy in front of me and the guy behind me. The guy behind me ended up leaving. The guy in front got the one they had, and I had a few people behind me bought out every one they had incoming. Now, the price has increased by a little bit, but what this means is if you can get one for MSRP, you're getting what is going to be a bargain. I mean, you're looking at $25,000 for a car that's a pretty good car. But realistically, the question is if you can get one. I've received plenty of emails of people saying the price is being marked up by a minimum of $5,000, in some cases $10,000. Now, I don't know if that's true because, 52 states in America, right? I'm not sure if it's true everywhere. But I'm hearing this more and more often now. Dealers are leaving a sour taste in people's mouths because people are coming in and having to haggle, having to negotiate, having to pay significantly more than MSRP. And they're leaving, in many cases, disappointed. Now, hopefully GM can do something about these dealer practices. Do what they're planning on doing. We've all heard GM are planning on selling direct, selling online. If they did that, then that would solve the problem. Hopefully, that happens soon. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.